Good morning and welcome to AP Statistics. Today we're going to go over the 3 open-ended prompts for our Chapter 2 review. So in number 11, it told you the story of Jane and Matt, who are doing curls to try to earn the Presidential or National Physical Fitness Awards. You're told that the Presidential Award has an 85th percentile cutoff and the National Award's only 50th percentile. And Jane got a 40 on her number of curls. I'm also told that for her 9-year-old age group, the presidential cutoff is the 39 curls, so that would mark the 85th percentile. The national was 30 curls at the 50th percentile. You can already see she's got 40 curls, which is more than the 39 curl cutoff, so she's above the 85th percentile. Matt, however, he got 40, which is the same number as Jane, but for his age group, 12-year-olds, the presidential cutoff is at 50, which demarks the 85th percentile, and national is at 40, which is the 50th percentile, which is where Matt is. So Matt's at the 50th percentile, Matt's at the median, but Jane is above the 85th percentile, so she's statistically better than Matt for her age group, which is the answer to part A. Jane did better than 85% of all 9-year-olds, so her score was better than the presidential cutoff, but Matt got the median score, which was the national cutoff. And part B, Jane might have a higher Z-score because she has a higher percentile than does Matt. Matt's Z-score would be around 0, provided it was a normal distribution because he's at the median, which would also be the mean in a normal curve. But because Jane had better than 85%, she would have a Z-score of a little more than 1, since empirically 84% lies below a Z-score of 1. Moving on to number 12. You were told that the mean is 22.8, deviation 1.1, and we are asked to find in part A the 80, what were we asked to find? Well, we were given a head circumference of 23.9, there we go. And we're asked to find the proportion of people who, let me rephrase, because I only have my work, not the question in front of me. If you plug in 23.9, which was this soldier's head circumference, you find that that soldier has a Z-score of 1. The Z-score of 1 has 0.8413 behind it if you do normal CDF from negative infinity to 1. So that person with the 23.9 inch head circumference is at the 84th percentile for head circumference of the soldiers. That's what I wanted to say. Part B, well, let's see. It said what percent of soldiers would have head circumferences outside the range of 20 to 26 inches. That's the typical range. So if you find the Z-score for a 20-inch head circumference, you find that it is negative 2.54 repeating. I got dust in my throat. Pardon me. If you find the Z-score for the person with a 26-inch head circumference, you find that Z-score is 2.90 repeating. The area between those two Z-scores is 0.9927. You find normal CDF from that low bound of negative 2.54 repeating to the upper bound of 2.90 repeating, and you find the area 0.9927. That's the percent of soldiers with head circumferences within that range. So what's outside that range, you subtract from 1, called the complement rule, and you get 0.0073. So 0.73% of soldiers, less than 1%, less than 3/4 of 1% of all soldiers have head circumferences outside that range. So those are the custom orders because they're not kept in stock. Then they asked you what the IQR would be for head circumference. So the IQR is the difference between the first and third quartile. So what's the Z-score for the first quartile? Well, that's the Z-score for that which has 25% behind it. Using inverse norm, you find that Z-score is negative 0.6745. The third quartile is equidistant on the other side of the mean, so it's positive 0.6745. If we then find out what head circumferences would fit in those values, you find mathematically the Z-score formula negative 0.6745 equals x minus 22.8 over 1.1. We find that the first quartile is at 22.0581 inches. Do the same thing for the third quartile, 0.6745 equals x minus 22.8 over 1.1. You find the third quartile of head circumference is at 23.542 inches. The difference between those is 1.4839. So the interquartile range of head circumference for the soldiers is 1.4839 inches. The last question. It asked you if there is a normal curve being described by the data given. The first thing is the median and the mean are way different. The mean is 48.25. The median is 37.8. That's a very big difference for a normal curve, because normal curves would have the mean and the median at the same place. So right now it looks like the mean is much higher than the median, which would indicate a strong right skew. But let's look below. They also told you the standard deviation was 40.24. They also told you the minimum was a 2 and the maximum was a 204.9. So if you just think empirically, there's supposed to be room for 3 deviations on both sides of the mean. But the mean being 48.25, one deviation below the mean is about 8, and the minimum is 2. So there's only really room for a little bit more than 1 standard deviation to the left of the center. However, since the maximum value is 204.9, there's basically room for 4 standard deviations above the mean. Again, they're showing you that there's a narrow band from the minimum to the mean and a rather wide band from the mean to the maximum. It's a strong right skew. The question was, is a normal distribution being described? The answer is no, it's not. It's a very strong right skew distribution. Okay, well, that was all for the FRQ portion of the review. Monday, what we're going to do is something, let's say, perhaps more fun. It's going to be an attempt at a distance Kahoot. So if we all log into the Google Meet on Monday, I will play through the Google Meet the Kahoot, and hopefully we can get a review. It's going to be, obviously chapter 2 themed, but we could do a Kahoot for it and maybe have a little bit more fun and see if we can make that work as a distance project. The test itself will be on Tuesday and Wednesday. What we're going to do again is on Tuesday, those who are in school will be doing the multiple choice. Those who are at home will be doing the open-ended. On Wednesday, reverse that order, and those in school will be doing multiple choice, and those at home at that point will be doing their open-ended. So open-ended will be done at home, multiple choice done in person, and hopefully everything will be wonderful and great. The reason for that, we have PSATs on Thursday. So the juniors in the class, of course, will have the option of taking the PSATs. I can't have class being run, and I also can't have tests being done. So we'll get it done on Tuesday, Wednesday. Any questions, let me know. Otherwise, you can log into the Google Meet today, and if there are any questions on the homework review, let me know. We'll see what happens. Have a good day. Let me know if there's any problems, and I will talk to you guys soon.